How to be feminine without losing who you are. Most of us misunderstand what femininity means. We work on our appearance and behavior in order to appear or look more feminine. The industry of lifestyle design and personal growth is telling us that to be more feminine, we got to work on the outside. Well, that is absolutely not true. You know, when I was a college student, I was always ambitious and I wanted to appear more feminine, trying to make myself appear more beautiful. But deep down inside, I was very rigid. I had a lot of limiting beliefs about myself, about relationships, and about men. No wonder, you know, one night at a club, I met a guy, I dragged him out of the club, I started kissing him, and he fell in love with me like a puppy. That's how I ended up in a depolarized relationship where I was in my masculine and he was in his feminine. No matter how much you try to be in your feminine or to appear or look or behave in a feminine way, you're not going to be attracting the right masculine men if deep down inside you feel rigid. How does it feel like to feel feminine, to surrender, to let go of control, and to really be with the chaos of life? That is what it means to be feminine. So now let's talk about 5 big misconceptions that women especially have about what femininity is. So the first misconception is that femininity is this damsel in distress. And this is one of the other misconceptions that, you know, femininity is weakness. And so I want you to hear this from me, that femininity is not a damsel in distress. I mean, it can be if that's what you choose to be. And sometimes you are. Like, for example, my story is that, oh my God, my biggest fear is insects and cockroaches. Here in Australia, we have like huge cockroaches. I definitely need to be saved when this shit happens. But you know, I'm a powerful woman. I run a 7-figure business. Like, I've been always on the top of my game. And yet, when I see a cockroach, I freak out like a little girl. I start screaming, my body starts shaking, I panic, right? And I need my man to come and like take the cockroach away. So I don't know what that is for you, but I definitely am a damsel in distress with a cockroach, right? You know what? Allow yourself to be that damsel in distress from time to time. There's nothing wrong, but it doesn't mean that all the time you have to be this woman who needs to be saved, right? That's really unhealthy. And let's go to the second one that I already mentioned, which is femininity is weakness. You might not even know you have this belief, but it's deep down inside, just like my client Ola. So many women think that femininity is weakness, that if I start working on my feminine or if I go into my feminine to attract masculine men, then I gotta be this weak woman who doesn't take care of herself, who doesn't know what she needs to do, who's submissive, who just does whatever a man tells her to do. That is definitely not my belief, and that is definitely not true. I want you to understand that femininity is power. It's strong. A healthy feminine is a strong feminine. A weak feminine is the same thing that a weak masculine. It's the unhealthy feminine. Just remember that as a woman, you can stand on your own feet and you can be feminine, and it doesn't mean that you're weak. Being feminine is literally playing in accordance with your own nature. That leads me to the next misconception, is that women think that femininity is not natural to them. They think that might not be natural to me, and it's so hard to get into my feminine. Well, I'm this A-type personality and I always go, and femininity is not for me. So that's not true. I want you to understand that just by being a woman, you are designed to be in touch with your femininity. And how you know you're a feminine essence woman, you basically need to answer this one question. How do you want to feel in a relationship? So answer this question right now. If you are a feminine essence woman like most women, deep down inside, most women admit that they want to feel safe and taken care of and adored and cherished. How do I do that, right? And how do you do that is you start to access those deeply rooted, but most of the time hidden femininity, let's call them reservoirs of feminine energy, or your connection to yourself. And I've seen this in hundreds of women. I've now worked with hundreds or thousands of women who've been touched by my work, who understand this about themselves. You know, so many women right now, the message is all about go, 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 work hard, workhorse mentality, right? I don't want to be a workhorse. I'm a wild horse. I'm not here to please anyone. I'm not here to compete with men, or prove my worth to someone, my bosses, society, lean in, be the girl boss. All of that, to me, is BS. The fourth misconception is that we're not here to compete with men. And so when you step into your feminine, and when you really embody who you are truly as a woman, when you reframe that belief that femininity is weak, that women are weak, and you really start to embrace who you are instead of reject who you are, everything changed, I promise you. My life has changed completely. First of all, when I have rediscovered this essence in me, I started to become curious about who I am and what I want. And I realized that, oh my God, all of these things that I look down upon women who had a great sense of fashion and style, who were wearing makeup and doing their hair. I'm like, I got no time for that. I got more important shit to do. And my hair was all messy and I wasn't wearing makeup. I wasn't taking care of my body. I wasn't taking care of myself, of my own, to be feminine. And so I was just disregarding all of that. I'm like, that's bullshit, that's superficial. But when I started to do this work of reframing who I am as a woman and not rejecting myself, then everything changed for me. I became a lot more softer, I became a lot more calm. I didn't need to prove anything to anyone because I knew my power as a woman. And I want you to understand that. You can still be a high-powered woman. And this is the fifth misconception is that you do not need to give up your career. A lot of women have this fear that, like, oh my God, if I start to work on my feminine, get into my body, I'm going to be this woman who's doing flower crowns all day. In my view, and when I work with women, that's absolutely not the case. Your masculine is so overdeveloped. Your go, 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 do, be in the head all the time, tell everybody what to do, be in control, is so overdeveloped, and your feminine is underdeveloped. And so in this work, you're just strengthening or developing or getting curious about that muscle of your feminine, so that everything could come into balance, and maybe perhaps your feminine can take over, but in a much more powerful way. There's a way that you can lead from your feminine. There's a way that you don't have to sit there and prove everything to everyone and get on the top all the time, because that's not your priority. That's not what I'm here. I'm here to do what I love. I'm here to be in my body, and I'm here to be present and really on a quest to discover my feminine flavor. And when you live like that, when you live in accordance or in alignment with your own body, with your own nature, everything changes. I got rid of, my girlfriends who were also on this workhorse mentality just faded away. I started attracting much more softer, gentle, and deeper women in my life. And obviously my dynamics with men have changed. Obviously I attracted my committed masculine men. We have a family now, 2 children. I stopped working so freaking hard for things to happen in my life. And there's a lot more enjoyment in there. So the first one is let go of the need to control and be in control all the time. That doesn't serve you. You got to let it go. You got to let other people do things for you. You got to ask for help. Number 2 is don't compete with men. I already mentioned this. Ask yourself, why are you competing with men? Why is it so important? Do you want to be happy or do you want to be right? A lot of the times from what I see is that women compete with men because they think they need to prove themselves and prove something to someone. So you got to stop doing that. Take full responsibility for yourself. No one else is going to fix this for you. So take full responsibility. I call it radical responsibility for who you are, for your inner growth and how you want to live your life. And start taking care and start investing in yourself so you can rediscover who you are as a woman, and not stopping you from letting go of control, from surrendering to the flow of life, and to really being connected to who you are. The next one is relax more, be more, create more. One of the exercises I give to all of my clients is to actually engage your hands in a creative activity, whether it's painting, sculpting, or whatever it is for you. Find a hobby that really allows you to get out of your head and into your body and do things with your hand. That's going to be really, really helpful for you. Or you can do things like dance. Anything that you can do to get out of your head is great. So start doing that. And last one is get quiet and go deep. Turn the volume down on the outside, on the news, on Netflix or social media. I recommend all of my clients to stop scrolling for a few weeks and go inside. Turn up the volume on the inside and start to rediscover who you truly are before everybody told you who you need to be.